The graduation gown made him look distinguished, important, like the doctor he'd always dreamed of becoming. Marcus stood with his classmates at Johns Hopkins Medical School, radiating the confidence that comes from achieving everything you've ever wanted. I sat in the audience, exhausted from my night shift at the hospital, wearing the same dress I'd worn to every milestone because new clothes weren't in our budget. My budget, really, since I'd paid for everything. 8 years, 3 degree programs, hundreds of thousands of dollars, all leading to this moment when my husband would finally become Dr. Marcus Chen. I should have known something was wrong when he'd insisted I sit with the general audience instead of the family section. It's just easier with the seating arrangements, he'd said. I should have noticed how he avoided my eyes all morning, how his mother kept smirking at me, how there was an empty seat next to him that wasn't for me. My name is Jessica Liu, and I'm about to tell you how the man I sacrificed everything for served me divorce papers at his medical school graduation, and how I destroyed his future with a single email to the dean. We met in college, both pre-med students with big dreams. Marcus was brilliant, charismatic, came from a family of doctors who expected nothing less than perfection. I was smart too, top of our organic chemistry class, but I was also practical. I knew medical school was expensive. I knew someone had to pay the bills. We're a team, Marcus said when he proposed senior year. I'll go to med school first, then when I'm established, you can go back. We'll take turns supporting each other. It sounded romantic. Partnership, sacrifice, building a future together. I was 22 and in love with a man who drew anatomical hearts on napkins and promised we'd save lives together someday. I got accepted to 3 medical schools. Marcus got accepted to Johns Hopkins. The choice seemed obvious. Hopkins was the dream. We'd move to Baltimore. He'd become the doctor he was meant to be, and I'd work until it was my turn. Just a few years, he promised as I declined my acceptances. Then Dr. Chen will support soon-to-be Dr. Liu. The first year was hard but manageable. I worked as a medical scribe during the day and picked up shifts at a restaurant at night. We lived in a tiny apartment where the radiator clanged and the neighbors fought, but we were happy. Marcus would study at the kitchen table while I brought him coffee and quizzed him on pathophysiology. I couldn't do this without you, he'd say, kissing my forehead, my lucky charm. By year 2, the restaurant wasn't enough. Marcus needed better equipment, more expensive textbooks, board exam prep courses. I got my EMT certification and started working ambulance shifts, better pay, flexible hours, and I was still in medicine, sort of. This is perfect, Marcus said. You're getting clinical experience. It'll make you a better doctor when it's your turn. My turn, always dangling in front of me like a carrot on a stick. Year 3 brought clinical rotations and new expenses, white coats, stethoscopes, specialty equipment. Marcus's mother started visiting, criticizing our apartment, my cooking, my appearance. Marcus needs to focus, she'd say. A future surgeon can't be distracted by domestic issues. I worked more shifts. 16-hour days became normal. I'd come home to find Marcus studying with classmates, beautiful, polished women who looked at me with pity. The EMT supporting her husband through med school. How quaint. Jessica's amazing, Marcus would say, but it sounded like an apology. By year 4, I rarely saw him. Surgery rotation, he explained. The hours were brutal. He'd sleep at the hospital, shower in the call rooms. I'd pack meals he'd forget to eat, wash scrubs that smelled like other women's perfume, pay bills for credit cards with charges I didn't recognize. Trust me, he'd say when I asked questions. Everything I do is for our future. Then came the match process for residency. Marcus was applying to the most competitive surgery programs in the country. The applications were expensive, thousands of dollars in fees, travel for interviews, new suits that cost more than our rent. I need to look the part, he explained, modeling a $3,000 suit. Image matters in surgery. I picked up overnight shifts, worked holidays, sold plasma twice a week. My body was breaking down, chronic back pain from lifting patients, migraines from exhaustion, stress fractures in my feet from never sitting down, but it would be worth it when he matched at a top program, when we could finally start our real life. Match day arrived. Marcus opened his envelope surrounded by his classmates, his mother, and notably, not me. I was working a double shift to pay for his celebration dinner. Massachusetts General, he texted me. Boston, baby, we're moving up. I cried in the ambulance bathroom, happy tears. I told myself, we'd done it. 8 years of sacrifice had paid off. But something changed after match day. Marcus became distant, critical. Suddenly my EMT job was embarrassing. My appearance was letting myself go. My questions about when I'd apply to medical school were pressure he didn't need. You don't understand the stress I'm under, he'd snap. Preparing for residency at MGH is intense. I need to focus. I found the dating app by accident. Looking for his insurance card in his wallet. Tinder, profile active. Future surgeon at Mass Gen looking for someone who matches my ambition. When I confronted him, he didn't even deny it. I'm networking, he said coldly, making connections. You wouldn't understand, you're not in medicine. I gave up medicine for you. No one asked you to, he said, and my heart shattered. That was your choice. I started documenting everything after that. The credit card statements showing jewelry purchases I never received. The study sessions that were clearly dates. The loans in my name I'd never authorized. 8 years of financial abuse laid out in spreadsheets and bank statements. But the real discovery came when I was organizing his residency paperwork. A scholarship application caught my eye, the Henderson need-based scholarship he'd received for all 4 years, $50,000 annually for students from low-income families. The problem? Marcus's family wasn't low-income. His parents were both physicians with a combined income well over $500,000. He'd submitted falsified tax documents, claimed to be independent, used our actual poverty to qualify while his parents bought vacation homes. I photographed everything, every forged document, every false claim, every lie he'd told to steal money meant for students who actually needed it. Graduation day arrived with all the pomp and ceremony an institution like Hopkins could muster. I sat in the audience, watching the man I'd supported for 8 years prepare to walk across that stage. His mother sat in the family section, along with a young woman I recognized from his Tinder matches, Dr. Melissa Park, a radiology resident at Mass General. Dean Williams took the podium for opening remarks. My phone buzzed with his reply to my email, received and under review. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Marcus found me during the processional, pulling me aside behind the auditorium. My heart leaped. Maybe he'd realized what we'd built together, what he was throwing away. Instead, he handed me an envelope. Jessica, this is for the best. You're a good person, but I need someone who understands my world, someone on my level. Melissa has connections at Mass General. Her father is chief of surgery. You get it, right? I opened the envelope. Divorce papers. Filed a month ago. He'd been planning this, timing it for after graduation when he no longer needed my support. 8 years, I whispered. I gave you everything. And I'm grateful, he said, already walking away. I left you the apartment. The lease is paid through next month. That should give you time to figure things out. He rejoined his classmates as the ceremony began. I stood there holding divorce papers while hundreds of families celebrated. 8 years of my life reduced to a lease extension and a pat on the head. But I still had my phone, still had the dean's number, still had one more email to send. The ceremony progressed with speeches about integrity, compassion, and the sacred trust of medicine. Marcus walked across the stage to receive his diploma, his future shining bright. Mass General, surgery residency, Dr. Melissa Park, everything he'd ever wanted. Then Dean Williams returned to the podium, his expression grave. Before we conclude, he announced, I must address a serious matter that has just come to our attention. It appears we have a situation involving scholarship fraud that requires immediate investigation. The auditorium buzzed with whispers. Marcus's face went pale. Will Marcus Chen please remain after the ceremony? Campus security will escort you to the administration office. Your diploma is hereby held pending investigation into falsified financial aid documents. The silence was deafening. Every eye turned to Marcus, frozen on stage with his worthless diploma holder. His mother stood, shouting about lawyers and misunderstandings. Melissa quietly slipped out of her row and disappeared. I didn't stay to watch security escort him away. I'd seen enough. The investigation was thorough and damning. Marcus had stolen $200,000 in need-based aid while his parents lived in a mansion. He'd forged my signature on loan documents. He'd used our tax returns, showing only my EMT income, to paint a picture of poverty while hiding his family's wealth. Johns Hopkins revoked his degree 2 weeks before residency started. Mass General withdrew their offer. The medical board opened an ethics investigation that would likely prevent him from ever practicing medicine. His parents were investigated for tax fraud. Melissa blocked his number and started dating and attending. Marcus called me from his parents' house, sobbing, "You destroyed my life. How could you do this to me?" "I didn't do anything to you," I said calmly. "I just told the truth about what you did to yourself. And to me. And to every actually poor student who couldn't go to Hopkins because you stole their spot. I'll be nothing without medicine." "I was nothing to you with it," I replied. "At least now we're even." The divorce was finalized quickly. No assets to split, I'd spent everything supporting him. No alimony, hard to pay when you're unemployable. Just freedom from a man who'd used me as a stepping stone to a future he'd now never have. I kept working as an EMT but started taking prerequisites again. At 31, I was finally applying to medical school. My personal statement wrote itself. 8 years later, why medicine still calls to me. I got accepted to 3 schools. I chose the one that offered the most need-based aid I actually qualified for. Living on an EMT's salary, the orientation was surreal, sitting with classmates a decade younger, but all excited about the same dream. What made you wait so long? A young woman asked me. I put someone else's dreams first, I said, but dreams don't have expiration dates. She nodded wisely, too young to really understand but trying to be supportive. My clinical rotations were different from Marcus's. My EMT experience meant I could start IVs on the first try, calm panicked patients, handle emergencies without freezing. Attendings noticed, "You have real experience," they'd say. It shows. I matched at a community hospital in an underserved area, not prestigious, but exactly where I wanted to be. Real medicine for real people who needed it. The last I heard, Marcus was working at his father's practice as an office manager, not a doctor, just scheduling appointments and filing insurance claims. His mother tells people he's taking a break from medicine. His father looks through him like he's furniture. Sometimes I wonder if he thinks about those nights in our tiny apartment, when I'd quiz him on pharmacology while cooking dinner on a hot plate, when we were poor but partners, struggling but together, when he promised we'd take turns. But then I remember him handing me divorce papers in a cap and gown I'd paid for, telling me I wasn't on his level. I remember 8 years of exhaustion, sacrifice, and broken promises. I remember choosing him over myself again and again until there was nothing left of my dreams but ashes. My name is Dr. Jessica Liu. It took me 12 years instead of 4, but I made it. The white coat hanging in my office was bought with my own money, earned with my own grades, celebrated by people who actually love me. Marcus thought he was trading up at his graduation, serving divorce papers to the woman who'd carried him through medical school. He said I wasn't on his level. He was right, I was beneath him for 8 years, holding him up. Now he's exactly where he put himself, nowhere. And I'm exactly where I always belonged, in medicine, healing people, living the dream I deferred but never abandoned. Turns out dreams don't need permission to come true. They just need someone who refuses to give up on them, even when everyone else gives up on you. Especially then.